Hi everyone, my name is Britain Cline, the ad sales manager, and welcome to this week's edition of Marketing Minutes, the Scuba Diving Industry Magazine.
And I'm William Klein, publisher. So thank you for joining us on our show today. We're going to have a great show today, Britain. I can't believe it. I think we're up to 45 or so episodes
Almost
right now,
50,
right?
man, it's incredible.
That's great. So who do we have on our show today?
That's right, our special guest today is Matt Seibert with Dive First Aid. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us today, Matt. We ran into him at the show back in Long Beach.
That's right.
And we were chatting with him about some of the cool things he was doing with helping those poor dive operators in Lahaina from Hawaii, the fires several months ago.
Right.
And he's a good guy, so I can't wait to dig in today's show.
That's right. Yeah, today's going to be a really, really awesome episode. But Matt, just to kind of jump right into things, you sell a lot of first aid supplies to a lot of different types of companies. Could you tell us a little bit about your company and maybe how it was founded?
Yeah, so Dive First Aid is technically a brand of our parent company called Seaside Marine International Drug Company, which was created back and opened its doors in 1882 in San Pedro, California. Yeah, we're over 140 years old. And even though the Dive First Aid brand wasn't created until about 12 years ago, we actually started building first aid kits, not just for the maritime industry, like cargo ships, container ships, coast guards, navies from all over the world, but we also back just at the end of, actually it was in the middle of World War II, we were building first aid kits for the very first commercial diving company, which was Parker Diving and Salvage, which was based in San Pedro, California. I actually had the luxury of meeting Mr. Parker before he passed, and he ironically gave me back the first aid kit that we made for him back in the 1940s, which is on loan to the Scuba Diving Museum down in Key West, Florida. We do recreational diving, as you talked about. We do commercial diving. It was about, I think it was 10, 11 years ago, where the commercial diving industry came to me and asked me if I could help them solve a big hurdle issue they were having of a multi-jurisdictional compliant kit, because they had 5 different governmental agencies that had to have each had their own version of a first aid kit, and none of them would agree on what was going to go into a kit. So we sat down with all of those agencies and basically developed the current inventory for commercial diving standards, which has now become the gold standard for all commercial diving globally. And we manufacture that kit for them. Both the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Navy uses our kits. But that's the commercial side. We build kits for Coast Guard, the Coast Guard, for lifeguards. We actually are the ones that build the emergency bailout kit for all of the Coast Guard helicopters. And then not only that's just the commercial side, we have the recreational diving side for the dive shops and the recreational instructors and even the individual divers. And then we have our whole maritime division, which is a whole nother ball game, including our yacht racing line. And yeah, we just anything water-based, first aid based is what we specialize in.
Wow, that's amazing. So, like we were talking about earlier, we were chatting at the Long Beach show about a community service you're providing to those dive operators in Hawaii after the Maui fires. Can you tell us a little bit more about those relief efforts and kind of how you got involved in all that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And the devastation is still unbelievable. Like, you go down and there are entire neighborhoods that are just dirt. Like, it's just unreal. And I had the pleasure of diving with a dive company out there, Aloha Scuba, Aloha Diver, sorry. And they were just fantastic. We brought them some supplies. We sent over supplies immediately after it was happening for just anybody that needed kits out there. But yeah, we brought over some stuff for them. And I've got another one that I think it's in Lahaina as well that just reached out for some other supplies that we're going to send over. So we try and help where we can. But we also have our sales reps, which we push very heavily to have relations with the dive shops. Because again, I'm all big fan of the brick and mortar stores, and pushing the dive industry away from the brick and mortar, I think, is a bad idea. With all the online, and not that I'm discounting the online retailers and all that, but one of the things I do at Dive First Aid is I focus on the brick and mortars. I mean, I come from a retail side, as you guys know, as I explained in the history and all that, is we also are a retail establishment ourselves. So we are a brick and mortar as well. So I will purposely go out and make sure that I have the sales rep force that is going and calling and meeting with those brick and mortars and helping those brick and mortars compete in the place. Because again, you can't have training without having an in-person training.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
incredible. I
sure
mean,
is.
you can't beat that. So dive retailers, dive resorts, and even dive liveaboards, they all need that basic safety kit on hand. Could you tell us a little bit about what you might suggest that they have on hand, in the event of an emergency or just in terms of general first aid equipment?
Yeah, that's a good question. Everybody needs kits.
That's right.
I'm going to break that down into a couple of different categories, in that you've got the individual instructor who's teaching a class. Well, you have the individual diver who should have a basic first aid kit with them. Then you got the instructors, which would have a more advanced kit, because they're taking people out that are new to the sport, that aren't even certified. So they're going to have other types of injuries that you're going to have to deal with. But then you've got the dive shop, and then the liveaboards is a whole different ball game. And that's where a lot of the liveaboards, they're dealing in very remote locations. And so one of the things that we do, and we work with the liveaboards, is that we, one, can, especially as the liveaboard companies, and most of them do nowadays, have more than one boat, is that we actually will get them to a standardized list. So it's the same stuff on all the boats. It's uniform across the boats. So that way the staff, if they're changing boats to different locations, it's not going to be any different for them. It should be the same supplies. The other thing too, because of our maritime knowledge and the fact that we are a World Health Organization certifying agency for the commercial industry and the maritime worlds, we actually know what the regulations are based upon what country the vessel is in, and know the minimum requirements that those boats from a vessel standpoint are supposed to have, not just from the diving side, which is a whole different intertwining thing that people don't even think about. And a big analogy that I give people is, okay, what are they talking about? All right, one of my big topics, examples I'll give is, say you're at home and you fall down the stairs and break your ankle. What are you going to do? You pick up the phone, you call 911, they take you to the hospital and they fix it, right? You do the same thing on a cargo vessel that's going from here to, say, Sydney, Australia. Who are you going to call? What are you going to call them on? You're 2.5 weeks. Yeah, you're 2.5 weeks from the nearest person to help you. They can't send a plane. They can't sell a helicopter. They can't send another, but like, what ambulance? So you have to have those supplies on board to be able to deal with that. And that's where it's like, people are like, oh, I never thought of that. So, which is why I explain to people what our actual scope is. We're more of the terminology my director of sales has coined in the last, I'd say, 6 months to describe us better, is we're a full-fledged medical supply house. Anything and everything medical that you could possibly think of is what we actually have access to. So that kind of better gives an idea and brings home what our range is. And even our retail dive shops don't even realize the whole scope.
Well, that's fascinating, Matt. Can you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned the recreational kits earlier that a consumer needs. Every diver should have their own first aid kit. I certainly have one. Can you tell us about how that might work with a retailer, how you have a program that allows them to retail these, I assume, to their customers?
Nice. Yeah.
For our dive shop retailers or brick and mortars, and like I said, there are a lot of things that I do for the brick and mortars that I try and help support them the best way I can. In that we've developed our line of kits to make it a very easy way to sell the kits. So we've developed it to where it based upon the level of diving you are and where you want to be, helps the retailers with 2 simple questions on being able to determine which kits they can help sell and all that. The other things that we do offer for our kits, and this is really drives home for the retailers, is we have a no expiry product on your shelf policy, which a lot of people may or may not understand, in that all of these items have expiration dates. In the diving realm, the first aid kits and the medical supplies are one of the few items that actually have an expiration date. And I understand that and I respect that. And our policy here is, if you're a dive retailer and you want to have that item on your shelf, but you're terrified of that expiration date or it not being good while it's sitting on your shelf, you don't want it to die there. So our policy is, if it's within 2 months of that expiration date, you send it back. We will send you a brand new kit with no charge. There's no additional charge to that. So again, your product will not expire on your shelves prior to you selling it. The other thing that we do is we also have what we call our refresh program. And this is done in basically 3 different ways. And it's all based upon what the brick and mortar retailer would like. We try and make it easy for them. Option 1 is the individual diver can bring the kit in. Say they bought a kit already, they can bring it into the retail dive shop, and they say, okay, hey, this guy bought the scuba diver kit. All right, here's the inventory. Dive shop, you can inventory the kit, let us know what you need, and then you can refill it for them, and we just charge you for what it is that you needed to have. Option 2, diver brings the kit into the shop. Shop can send the kit back to us, and we'll take care of it for them, and basically bring that kit right back up to original, brand new, as if it was brand new standards. Or the third option is we can email, the shop says, you know what, just go ahead and work with the diver directly. We can email them the inventory as well. We don't like doing it that way because it cuts out the brick and mortar, which we don't want to do. So we try and encourage the retailer to be involved, because again, I'm all about supporting the brick and mortar stores. So those are 2 other programs that we do about the first aids to always make sure you have proper supplies.
So thanks, Matt, for being on our show. It's been great. I look forward to seeing you at the DEMA show here in just about 120 days, 4 months, Britain. Hard to believe, right?
Oh my gosh.
In Orlando. So I bet you're going to have a ton of great specials to unveil at that show, right?
No, in terms of DEMA, that's another thing that we do for the retail dive shops, is we actually have some pretty good DEMA specials for them to save even more money and put more profit back into their pockets. So, yeah, we've got a lot of specials that we're doing this year. I don't want to share them all yet. We do have, I believe last count I had, we had about 6 or 7 new items that we're bringing out of DEMA this year. So we got some new stuff there. So if you guys are coming to DEMA, come on by. We will be, I don't know if you guys are familiar, last year DEMA launched that treasure map game and all that. We are one of the stops on that treasure map, so come on by and see us. We will have either a stamp or a punch or signature, something like that, for you guys. So, but yeah, DEMA we're getting real excited about.